establishing the authenticity of the Vedas, and specifically as opposed to other darshans of the Vedas, which may be there from the likes of Shankaracharya and others. It was quite an interesting, quite interesting to read last week. You know, let's Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhatale Shmati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Chalini Nivasisha Sunivari Ashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, let's have some readers out there to begin.
Which page are we on, please?
We are, at least on the copy that I have on the screen, it's 56. It might not correlate to the book if you have it, but it's chapter 7, criticizing the Vedic scriptures.
Okay, Rajkishori, how to apply the Shruti conclusions.
Yeah, how to apply the Shruti conclusion. I will just come to the end of this.
59.
Yeah,
yes, thank you.
Just coming to the end of this chapter, actually. Okay, so Mama Chandravali, you can begin reading.
Okay. How to apply the Shruti conclusions. When all the cardinal conclusions of the Vedic philosophy are brought together, they add up to pure devotional service, by which the jiva attains pure love of Godhead. Wherever the principal teachings are applicable, it is wrong to substitute secondary teachings in their place. These principal meanings all indicate and uphold the science of Krishna consciousness. To artificially impose secondary meanings upon the Vedic statement is a sin that distances one from the absolute truth. From beginning to the end, the Vedas expound the super excellence of Om, or the holy name. By chanting the Lord's name, the jiva attains the highest spiritual abode. The pure devotees always take shelter of the holy name. The holy name is transcendental, being an exact replica of the Supreme Lord. Simply by namabhas chanting, all perfection is attained in this material world. Only unfortunate fools will purposefully try to disregard the Vedic teachings and thus ruin their lives for offenses. The Vedas teach only the pure name. The devotee who is attached to chanting the pure name will also have the knowledge of Vedas revealed to him. Gradually, he will also attain Krishna Prema. The Vedas unequivocally declare that by chanting the holy name, one experiences ecstatic bliss, as the holy name is the source of everything. The Vedas further explain that all the liberated souls are residing in the spiritual sky and are always engaged in chanting the pure name. Tantric practice is opposed to the Vedas. In Kali Yuga, more and more people are worshipping Maya, the material energy. They give up the opportunity to chant the Supreme Lord Krishna's holy name, which is full of ecstatic spiritual mellows. They take up tantric worship in the mode of ignorance and criticize the Vedas. This they digress from the real path of religion, eat meat, drink alcohol, and perform all other sinful activities. These offenders can never receive the shelter of the holy name, nor can they enter the Supreme Lord's eternal abode of Vrindavan. Maya Devi's mercy is essential. Maya Devi forces atheists to perform sinful activities and in this way deprives them of the nectar of chanting the holy name. But if she becomes appeased by an atheist rendering service to saintly Vaishnavas, she showers him with her grace and connects them to Lord Krishna's lotus feet. Maya is an eternal maidservant of Lord Krishna. She punishes the wayward jivas who drift away from serving Lord Krishna. Those who want to serve Maya are simply cheaters who can never know happiness. Yet Maya Devi rewards those who chant the holy name. She helps them cross over the ocean of material existence. Maya Devi is known and worshipped in the form of Durga, Kali, etc. The superior spiritual energy is Lord Krishna's original and primeval energy. Maya is its shadow. Her intention is to rectify the erring jivas who fall away and bring them back to Krishna consciousness. This is her prime duty to the Lord. Maya showers two kinds of graces: niskalpata, honest and unrestricted, and sakalpata, capricious and illusory. By her
Capricious.
niskalpata mercy, she gives the signs of devotional service to Lord Krishna, subtly mixed with material knowledge. In the case of sakalpata mercy, she offers temporary material favors and comforts, and thus controls the jiva. When she is dissatisfied with the jiva's behavior, she casts him into the Brahmajyoti through Sahyuja liberation. Thus the jiva is doomed. Therefore, avoid committing the offenses of criticizing the Shruti scriptures. Absorb yourself in constant chanting of the Lord. If inadvertently one criticizes the Shruti, then he should sincerely repent his error by properly glorifying the Shruti. He should worship the Vedic literature and Srimad Bhagavatam, feeling great joy and respect, offering flowers and tulsi. Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of Vedic teaching and is the literary incarnation of Lord Krishna. The Bhagavatam will certainly shower mercy upon the offender because the Bhagavatam is an ocean of mercy. Only the reprobates criticize Srimad Bhagavatam. One who
Yeah, reprobates. Let's just look at reprobates.
oh yeah, because you're doing dictionary, yeah.
An unprincipled person. He has to be present himself as more of a lovable reprobate than a spirit of corruption. Okay, interesting. So an unprincipled person. So this offense, it may relate to us, it may not. Perhaps thinks for the most part, hopefully it may not. But especially in the East, in India, it may be more prominent. Or I can say maybe more prominent because that's the, most persons are aware to some extent of the Vedic philosophy. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is also indicating that those who give a wrong interpretation of the Vedas, which is widely done. As we mentioned, Shankaracharya, he accepted Veda, wasn't it? Buddha decried Veda as a Nashtik. Shankaracharya accepted it, but he gave a Buddhist or a twist to the Vedas, concluding in an impersonal so-called conception or a Mayavad conception. So having that type of mentality, one is guard from getting the real nectar of the holy name. And interesting about Durga Devi, isn't it? That was brought up here, or otherwise known as Maya Devi. Just scrolling back and forth. Yeah. If we serve Krishna's devotees, then she looks very kindly upon us. And she has this, the tree, what is it? It's three-pronged fork or tree, what's it called? This three-pronged.
Trishul. Trident.
Trident, yeah. So by serving the Vaishnavas, she has a pleasing aptitude towards them. Yeah. Yeah. The title Maya Devi's mercy is essential. It's the first time I've read that. Exactly. Maya Devi's mercy. Yeah. So anyway, any questions or comments on this? If not, we can go on to another offense. Considering the glories of the holy name to be imaginary. There's something I saw there. Yeah, I was just contemplating actually in reading this and studying it together. It becomes apparent that although there's no hard and fast rules for chanting the holy name, the holy name is a person, and depending on our attitude towards it, we may or may not get the mercy of the holy name. When it says there's no hard and fast rules, that's generally referring to Vedic mantras. There is hard and fast rules for actually chanting them. For instance, when Brahmins are chanting Vedic mantras, they cannot be standing up. They can be standing up with it, but they can't be dancing. They can't be playing musical instruments. They have to be Brahmins. They have to done all type of rituals, all types of purificatory rituals before they can actually chant the Vedic mantras. I think I might have shared before. One time I was attending some classes where I was learning Vedic mantras. This is for doing Homa, Yagna. And our teacher would correct us if we was walking backwards and forwards, or if it's the wrong pitch. You know, there's many rules and regulations for chanting Vedic mantras, but in regards to the Maha Mantra, then even if you're non-Brahmin, you can chant it. And we can see you can dance, you can spin round, you can play musical instruments, you can take it out on the street and say it loudly. Yeah. So in that sense, there's no hard and fast rules. But in order to obtain the real goal of chanting, a specific devotional mentality or disposition is needed. A pure disposition, a pure approach is needed. So these offenses are highlighting an impure approach to the holy name. And when the holy name is not inclined to bestow upon the chanter its mercy of Krishna Prema. So there are some, there's no hard and fast rules, but there is some things we should be aware of in chanting the holy name. Yeah. So should we hear more? What should we be aware of more? All right, so number 8 is considering the glories of the holy name to be imaginary. Yeah, perhaps just before we start reading, can anyone perhaps just say what this might be alluring to? For example. Have a wild guess.
Hare Krishna,
Well,
Prabhu.
not too wild. Who's this speaking?
Agaya.
Hare Krishna. Go ahead, Mavagat. Yes.
So I think because we tend to judge our surroundings according to our own perceptions of the world, you know. So if we chant offensively and we don't get any benefits, we tend to just write it off as it's not real, you know. There is no benefits, there is no epiphany, something like this, you know, because we're not successful in it. So it must be imaginary.
Yeah, that's a good point you're bringing out there, that we may not be experiencing what is explained of the results of chanting the holy name. So due to lack of faith, then we may think that it's just It's just, I could say, flowery words. It's just poetic. The excellences or the perfections that come, it's all just the imagination. So that even sounds offensive, isn't it? Just saying that. Because yeah, so that's correct, Mother Guy. She pointed it out, is that that's what the Vedic scriptures describe from one point of view, fantastic achievements from chanting the holy name. Yeah. For instance, just by chanting the holy name, it's better than doing 1,000,000 sacrifices, you know, all these types of things you read. And a liberation is just a secondary, it's just a secondary result from chanting. This was, I think it might be mentioned here, but that discussion, as we know, in Chaitanya Charitamrita between Haridas Thakur and some so-called learned fellows, where they asked him about the holy name. And Haridas Thakur described that liberation is just a byproduct of chanting the holy name. Whereas for some schools, liberation is everything. So how can it possibly just be a byproduct? So Haridas Thakur describes actually, just like the sun rises in the morning, and before it actually sets on the horizon, it dissipates all the darkness. Yeah. So just by namabas, remember we was reading about namabas, about the benefits of namabas. You can be free of all sins. You can attain moksha,
Yeah.
etc. So that's just by namabas. So that's considered to be the rays of the sun before it actually rises. But the sun, when it's risen, is like Krishna prema. So to have that mentality towards the holy name, then the holy name is not going to reveal its glories to such a person. Yeah. So let's read about this. Who's like?
Sorry,
Yeah.
can I quickly say, I'm just thinking to myself, like, because we don't have, we understand the holy name is Krishna and how powerful it is, you know, but yet because we read that if we're chanting the holy name, tears should be falling, you know, and all sorts of things like that happening. But because we are not there, not chanting it so purely, so then we're just doing it as something we do, and we will progress in chanting the holy name purely eventually. I don't know. Does that make sense? So we're not.
Makes sense. Just like you know, we don't look to blame the holy name.
No.
We understand that if these effects are not manifesting in us, it's due to just like the sun is always shining.
Yes.
But and the clouds may seem to cover the sun, but they never actually do. So the glories. So yeah. So basically, we have faith, and even if we may not be experiencing what Haridas Thakur experiences when he chants, or Lord Chaitanya, or other eternal associates, then we have faith in the principle that we are actually cleaning our heart and we're preparing ourselves for these further perfections. But we have faith in the principle of chanting and faith in the holy name.
That's it. Yeah.
That we understand it's something that we have to address. There's nothing wrong with the holy name.
So we're not imagining it. It is there, and it will make us advance in our spiritual life. But we just got to pursue it.
Yeah, and I'm sure all of us, I mean, most of us here have taken vows to chant, and I'm sure we've experienced some extraordinary japa periods, hopefully, some wonderful times chanting in our devotional career. So the holy name, so Krishna does encourage us in that regard.
Like even most of us have like, okay, we've taken vows, but I think everybody's at that stage that they just want to chant. It's not quite, vows are there, but you want to do it, you know?
Yeah, that's hopefully, yeah, we should want to come to that. It's not that we have to do it, that we want to do it.
We want to do it, yes.
All right, let's see where this takes us then. Mavalawangalataka, you can begin reading this chapter 8. Your hands at the top there.
Thank you.
You can see.
Yeah, sorry, I just need to go full screen.
Oh, need to be a bit bigger. Can you read?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. All glories to Lord Garanga and Srila Gadadhar Pandit. All glories to Sri Sri Radhamadhava. All glories to the places of Lord Garanga's pastimes and to the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Haridas Thakur continued, O Lord Garanga, the fifth offense or namaparad is to think that the glories of the holy name are exaggerated. This is against the scriptural injunctions. For instance, it is offensive to think the scriptural presentation of the glories of the Lord's holy name is not entirely true because hyperbole has been employed to increase the reader's faith in the chanting of the name.
So there's the definition for hyperbole. You can see exaggerated statements or claims not meant to be taken literally.
It's like
Hyperbole.
hype.
Yeah, you're speaking hyperbole. Hyperbole. Yeah, hype. Okay. Oh.
It is a fact that in the Karmakanda and Jnanakanda sections of the Vedas, ritualism and philosophical speculation have been greatly praised, and such praises are intended to elicit interest in these processes. But the same is not true in the case of the holy name. Therefore, to think so is an abominable offense. The Smriti says that anyone who chants the holy name, whether with faith or neglect, attracts the merciful attention of Lord Krishna. The name is the purest form of knowledge, the best of all vrats or vows, and the biggest and the highest meditation. It gives the ultimate auspicious results and is the most sublime renunciation. Chanting is a matchless spiritual activity, the holiest of pious activities, and the supreme path of self-realization. It offers the greatest liberation and goal. The holy name is divine and situated in the paramount spiritual realm. It is the super excellent devotional service and the best purifying agent, showering love of Godhead. It is the essence of all the scriptures, the cause of everything, the supreme absolute truth, the most worshipable object, and acts as the supreme spiritual instructor and guide. 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu are equal to one name of Lord Ram, and 3 names of Lord Ram are equal to one name of Lord Krishna. The scriptures always glorified the holy name of Krishna, and expound its transcendental excellences. Only a hardened atheist thinks that passages of Shruti and Smriti scriptures describing the super excellent qualities of the name contain exaggerations. Whoever commits such an abominable offense rots eternally in hell. Only a reprobate thinks that exaggeration has been used to help inculcate faith and taste in chanting. He has no idea of the purport of the scriptures and of what is beneficial for humanity. He takes everything backwards. Since this person has no reserve of previous pious activities, he can never develop faith in the ethics of devotional service. The chanting of the holy name is the most superior form of devotional service. A person with insufficient piety cannot acquire a taste for chanting and will not have adequate faith in its unlimited results. Those who accept just one section of the scriptures cannot perceive the essence of the scriptures.
Let's just pause here for a minute. So I remember reading this before, and also my Guru has done some, he's explained this in one of his books, the 10 offenses. And we did a little course on it, on how to improve our chanting, I mentioned before. And one we was going through the 10 offenses. And actually, as this paragraph here, there are some places where there will be exaggerations in order to attract people to the rituals of the Vedic or to rituals. So there will be flowery words to attract materialistic persons to actually become interested in the Karma Kanda section and the Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas. So you understand? So some persons will then wrongfully conclude that it's the same with the holy name when we hear the glories of the holy name, but it's not. It is actually factual. So that's what's being kind of emphasized here. And this is an interesting statement, which I think, see this statement here? Whoever commits now, according to our Siddhanta, there is no such thing as rotting in hell eternally. This is a speculation coming from the Christian tradition, specifically from the Catholic tradition, you know, and that is contested. You know, I won't go into it, but it caught my attention because I'm reading one book by one person he's a Christian, and he's speaking very strongly against this misconception of Christians that there's an eternal hell. So that's why it caught my attention. But so what can we make of that? How can we explain that? Why is he saying this? Because there is no, you can read in the 5th canto about hell, and it is pretty intense, but it's not eternal.
I would say that it means that it's for such a long time that it will feel like eternity, and it will probably might as well be eternal, because it's going to be for so long that you will see no end.
All right, so perhaps more or less it is eternal, you're saying.
What I'm thinking is, what if we, you know, those souls who are in Brahmajyoti, and it's like, you know, nothing, everything's, you know, you're miserable, you're lonely, you just, you know. So that's also kind of hell, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hellish, yeah, especially when we become aware of the nature of loving exchanges with Krishna, when we experience bhakti, to exist in some type of void where
Yeah.
there's no exchanges of love. That's definitely naraka for a Vaishnava, hellish.
Yeah.
But still, whoever commits such abominable offenses rots eternally in hell. I can only but think that I think I mentioned before, sometimes our acharyas will get carried away in their enthusiasm. So, dare I say, I think even Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who's quoting Haridas Thakur, sometimes he might get a bit carried away in defense of the holy name. Dare I say that? Especially when we consider overall our scriptures in describing about the hellish worlds. So just to emphasize the because I'm going to emphasize, yeah, how bad it is to have a atheistic concept of the glories of the holy name. Anyway, anyone else can add to that or subtract from that, or perhaps, hey, what was that question? Remember, where was that we asked Anupama to ask a question to
Yeah, she has asked and replied.
Okay. I guess due to the news we had lately, he might have, he might have Vrindavan on his mind rather than that. More. All right, so he didn't reply. Okay. Perhaps I'll ask that same question. Perhaps I'll ask Sutapa, because I'm at the man at the moment and he's here.
Yeah.
The question was, sorry if we're going off the track here, but the question was who to direct meditation to during worship. Is that right? Is it?
No, it's because she was initiated from Bhakti Maharaj, taking second initiation for
yeah, that's it. The Gayatri meditation.
Guru Gayatri.
The Guru Gayatri, what should be the focus of meditation? Should it be back to true Swami, her Diksha Guru, or should it be Kadamakana Maharaj, who blessed her with Dvija, second initiation? So anyway, stay tuned. We'll find that answer. So yeah. All right, unless there's any other comments about that, we can continue reading. So that's my speculation. Dare I say it? It's a bit of an enthusiastic, dare I say, a little bit exaggeration. Gulp, I feel strange saying that. I might be completely wrong. And if I do, that means if it's wrong, then I've blasphemed the Vedic literatures. I've blasphemed the Harinam Chintamani, so I'll have to make some, to
Repent.
anyway, repent, that's the word. Okay, let's continue reading before I keep mumbling on too much. Quick. Krishna. Mother Lavanga, you continue reading.
The Karmakanda section of the Vedas contains cunning, selfishly motivated material knowledge, but selfish motivations are totally absent in the Vedic science of devotion and in the process of chanting the holy name. In the Karmakanda process, the results are merely transient sensual enjoyments, whereas the results of chanting the holy name and of performing devotional service are eternal. In chanting of the holy name of the Lord, capriciousness and cheating are shunned. When a devotee inspires a pious person to chant, it is done without selfish motives. But when a person inspires another to engage in fruitive activities, he simply places the promise of material gains on the back of the other's mind. This is capricious. The Vedas inform us that chanting begets unlimited auspicious results. Only one who has no interest in his spiritual self-interest, in self-realization, and in the attainment of perfection will reject this verdict. Fruitive activities, being material, give material results. One who rejects such fruitive results and simply performs his life's duties free from selfishness, purifies his heart, and understands the essence of chanting the holy name. A purified heart strives for self-realization and is naturally repelled by material activities. The holy name already includes self-realization, and chanting it is prescribed by the Supreme Lord himself. Selfless activities lead to the chanting of the holy name. Pious results that a Brahmana could not accrue anywhere in the universe are easily obtained by chanting Krishna's name. The supreme position of the chanting of the holy name cannot be diminished merely by envious statements made by fruitive workers and empiricists. Simply by Nambas, simply by Namabas chanting, one gains all the results of fruitive activities and empirical knowledge. So if only Namabas can offer such wonderful results, then surely the whole pure name can offer so much more, unlimitedly. Therefore, whatever results the scriptures say are gained from chanting are easily available to the devotee who is attached to the pure name. One who doubts this fact is a sinner and is doomed because of committing Nama Aparad. All the revealed scriptures, the Vedas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Puranas, etc., are filled with explanations of the super excellence of the holy name. So to doubt these statements is abominable. The holy name and the Lord himself are the same. The Lord has personally positioned chanting his holy name at the very top of all devotional activities. And the Supreme Lord is fully independent, autocratic, and omnipotent. All rules that have come into force due to his arrangement. He has declared fruitive activity to be material and has revealed that cultivating knowledge of impersonal Brahman leads only to the extinction of consciousness, putting it in deep slumber. After explaining all this, the Lord, of his own accord, has invested his entire potency in his holy name. There is no point in raising any objection. Hence, an intelligent person will carefully avoid offending the all-powerful name of the Lord.
Okay. Any questions or comments so far? We're all pretty convinced, I hope. Okay. Continue. Perhaps let's know, Raj Kishore, you'd like to just finish this chapter? I think we've got quite a short chapter.
Okay, shall I read the last paragraph first? The method of counteracting this offense. If this namaparad is somehow committed, the offender has to go humbly to the assembly of Vaishnavas and attentively listen to the narrations of the pastimes and qualities of the Supreme Lord from the lips of a pure devotee. Full of remorse, the offender must admit his transgression against the holy name and beg forgiveness from the Vaishnavas. The Vaishnavas are realized in the glories of the name. They will mercifully deliver the offender from his sins by embracing him. Then the offensive mentality will be purified, and he will be protected from the onslaught of Maya. Offenses against the holy name are committed because the Maya's deception. If a devotee meets or even just sees the face of such an offender, he should immediately take bath in the Ganges. If the Ganges is not nearby, he should bathe in some other pure water. In the event of this also not possible, he should purify himself by bathing mentally. One who is surrendered to Krishna's most beloved consort, Srimati Radharani, and to the mercy of his flute, will be adorned by the glory of Harinam Chintamani.
Okay, so thank you. So nice ending there on his surrender to Radharani and the mercy of Krishna's flute. We get the mercy of Harinam Chintamani. Okay, so here's what to do if you have transgressed this offense. Here's explain what to do. Take bath, or if you transgressed this offense, then we go to an assembly of Vaishnavas and we hear the glories of the holy name and we admit our transgression. Yeah. So that's that etiquette is there for a few of the offenses to the holy name, actually, that one goes before an assembly of Vaishnavas. So called, of course, time, place, and circumstance. But Srimad Bhagavatam class is not the best place to make an open personal apology and statement. But anyway, and to some Vaishnavas. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Chapter 9, singing on the strength of chanting.
Chanting the holy name. Yeah, continue, Mo.
All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit and Lord Sri Gauranga. All glories to Lord Nityananda, the life of Srimati Jahanav Devi. All glories to Sri Advait Acharya and Mother Sita. All glories to Srila Srivas Pandit and to all the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Chanting destroys all anartha. Srila Haridas Thakur said, the holy name is eternally situated in pure goodness. Only very fortunate jivas can take shelter of Krishna's holy name. Chanting quickly removes the anartha from the heart. Consequently, hridaya durbalyam, weakness of the heart, disappears. When undeviating faith in the Lord's holy name develops, the propensity to sin is totally extirpated. All previous sins are also dissolved. The heart shines with positive purity. Sinful desires in the heart are rooted in ignorance. These three, sin, the seeds of the sin, and ignorance, are the source of all suffering for the conditioned soul. Chanting softens the heart and evokes compassion for all conditioned souls. The chanter constantly endeavors for their spiritual welfare. He cannot bear to see the suffering of the conditioned souls and tries to remove this suffering by all means. He is unperturbed by lusty desire and the urge to enjoy the senses. He is repulsed by wealth and women. He follows the path of righteousness. He accepts only what is favorable for executing devotional service and rejects that which is unfavorable. He has absolute conviction in all situations that Lord Krishna is his protector, savior, and maintainer. He is free from attachments to the body and the notions of me and mine. In humble state of mind, he constantly states the holy name of the Lord. He is never again inclined to commit sinful activities.
Okay, perhaps just pause there, just 1 second, because these excellencies are what this is basically what has been described is actually a devotee's life, hopefully. Yeah. So it comes from taking shelter of Krishna in the form of his holy name. So our disposition becomes, hopefully, to one degree or another, we're taking shelter of the holy name, then one should feel some heart, as you mentioned, heart becomes soft, one feels compassion. Yeah. And one's able to tolerate the pushings of the senses. It becomes adverse to things which might entangle him or her materially. Yeah. And if one follows the path of righteousness. Yeah. And it's not so common today. Most of the world follows the path of unrighteousness. There is some very wicked people in this world who actually take pleasure in doing unrighteous activities. Yeah. So just the fact that we're trying or we are on or we're leading a pure life is because we've taken shelter of the holy name. Yeah. So it's by the holy name's grace and mercy that we can continue on the same path. Yeah. We have an understanding. I'm just kind of just highlighting that these excellencies which are mentioned, we shouldn't just take for granted. This is coming from our association with Krishna, especially in the form of his holy name. Yeah. And this part is very good. This is Sharanagati, as we mentioned before, principle of surrender. Krishna is our only protector, he's our only savior, and he's our maintainer. Yeah. All right, so these are gifts. Of course, these are gifts that come from chanting. Right, just thought that just came to mind. You can continue reading, Mother, if there's any, unless there's any comments or questions on that.
Okay, previous thing.
Sorry, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Even when devotees know the knowledge, they chant, even then, why is it like they want to control things? Why does that kind of thing come up when you really trying to chant?
Well,
serious?
I guess it's not so bad if they, it depends what I mean, control things. If it's to the degree that they want to control the material energy and become the most powerful person in creation, that might be. But if they're just trying to, they're meant to, then they maybe just trying to control a specific situation for what they see as being favorable for their devotional service. So that's not necessarily completely materialistic.
Yeah.
Not like a gross, like someone who's trying to become the richest and most powerful. They'd like a materialist is desperately trying to bend the material energy to suit their own selfish purposes. And they become very, very disappointed and frustrated when the material energy throws up reversals and disappointments. So I guess you're speaking about, devotees, a little situation someone's trying to control. Who's going to take the Raj Bhoga plate down?
No, I'm just thinking, like, we do put Krishna in the center, but we kind of think, oh, this is what I want to do for Krishna, kind of, and it might not be the right thing for doing for Krishna, but we have this tendency to think I'm doing it for Krishna. I don't know.
I don't know if I follow. Yeah, I don't know if it's actually follow what you're saying. Try again.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's something I just realized it this afternoon, so I was just meditating on it.
Yeah, we should understand that at some point we should realize that we are not in control.
Yeah.
Even though we may try. That is my experiences when I'm managing sometimes, in the Bajai department, managing a festival. I've got it all worked out how it's going to go. And then it becomes quite obvious that it's not going to go how I worked it out. It's going to go. It's going to follow its own way. So at some point you have to, okay, it is not within my control. So that's good mentality. In one sense, it helps because it stops us being feverish and passionate. Because if we're really trying to control and we're not going to give up trying to control, and something else is happening, then we're just going to meet frustration. So sometimes we have to kind of throw our hands in the air, you know, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. You know, it's good to have that sense of detachment. It doesn't mean we are irresponsible, but sometimes, even if we try to be responsible, things are not going to go to plan because Krishna may have another plan. So we should be kind of aware when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered that query or question.
Yeah, it's just I was feeling like it wouldn't be so nice to be when Prabhupada was here, because that compassion, that caring was there. Because one devotee said, oh, I wish I could go speak to my Guru Maharaj. I really need answer to these things. And I was thinking, I was feeling sad for that person, you know. And then I was thinking back that wasn't it so nice in the days when Prabhupada was there and everything was so.
Well, you speak to, I know there's one, you speak to a Prabhupada's disciples who are still with us, and it weren't a bed of roses when Prabhupada was here. There was lots of problems. There was lots of scandals, money, illicit activities, etc. Ravinder Sarup speaks about this. He's the one seminar called The Hidden Histories of ISKCON. It's quite a seminar to listen to. So, and then when Prabhupada was there, yeah, you could ask him questions, but at the same time, there was a lot of trials. There was a lot of a lot of trials and a lot of disappointments. But overall, yeah, Prabhupada was there.
His caring mood, his you know, compassion was there. You know.
Yeah.
That would.
Let's keep on track. I mean, yeah. Okay. Who would like this? What's the time? Oh, time has flown. It's 10:02. Anyone else would like to read out there? Or was that who was reading? That was Radhikishore.
I was reading, yes.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, just continue another couple of paragraphs.
Okay. Previous sin and its residue are destroyed. Chanting gradually diminishes the propensity to sin and simultaneously purifies the consciousness. At this juncture, the taste of chanting begins to manifest, and inclination to commit sinful activity vanishes, though a faint residue of previous sinful activities still lingers in the consciousness. The receding sinful reactions leave an odor of sinful habit hanging in the air, but the chanter's contact with the name engenders a purity of willpower and mind that overcomes this clinging stigma of sin.
Well, isn't that a wonderful piece of writing? That
yes,
really nicely describes the process of anartha-nivritti. Yeah.
Yes. Lord
The
Krishna.
receding. Yeah, carry on. Yeah.
Lord Krishna promised Arjuna that his devotees will never be in danger of destruction. In case of reverses, he will personally come to the devotees' rescue. The devotees' sin are annihilated by Lord's mercy alone. The empirical philosopher, Gnani, may subdue his sins with great efforts and penance, but as soon as he leaves or denies the shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, he immediately falls down. Whoever simply embraces the Lord's protection is an elevated soul. His progress will never be impeded by obstacles. This is declared in the scriptures. No need for ritualistic penances or prayaschitta. Perchance a devotee may commit a sin, still he does not have to undertake the penance or prayaschitta recommended in the Vedas as atone for and counteract it. Such sins are a passing phase. They will be drowned in the nectar of holy name. The devotee is not lost from the path of spirituality. However, if a devotee commits another sin on the strength of chanting, then he is unsteady. He is a deceitful person and is doomed due to his nama parad. Sins happen in two ways, due to sudden weakness or mistake and by premeditation. There is a vast difference in these two.
Okay, you can see what's being, first of all, it's described what is the correct mentality. In other words, a devotee, perchance, means by accident, may perform a sinful activity. So there is no, he can, so the remedy for that is the holy name. There's no need to do pious chit-chat, different ritualistic activities or things that given in the Vedas. One doesn't opt for atonement and just has to take to the shelter of the holy name. And the holy name is very merciful, very powerful, and one will be reinstated. Yeah. But if one here, just kind of emphasizing, because this is the main point of this chapter, now it's beginning to explain that if someone takes advantage of that, knowing the potency of the holy name, one doesn't, or one then commits, thinks it's not so bad, I will overstep this principle, but the holy name will be my redeemer. So that person is deceitful. Yeah, it's sometimes described as using the holy name as a doormat, yeah, to wipe the dirt off. And this kind of brings us into, I guess we won't go in that direction, but in Christianity, there's this whole thing of, what's it called, where you you confess your sins, yeah, and then again you do the same thing again. In other words, the heart doesn't get cleansed. You know, so just highlighting that this is what in essence this chapter is about. So, for example, something, so it can be, it may be, you know, it may be subtle. It may be, for instance, something like a devotee thinks, you know, if I say, if I eat in this Kami restaurant, it's all right, tomorrow I'll chant extra rounds. Or if I, you know what I mean? It'll be right, I'm going to a festival next, I'm going to a holy name retreat, so I can relax a bit from now and I can expose myself to this and to that and do this and that, but I'm going to get myself together next week because I'm going to a holy name retreat. That is, you know, you can understand how subtle it might be, you know, when it's okay, you know, I'll chant some extra rounds tomorrow. You know, I can watch this nonsense today, but tomorrow I'll chant extra rounds and I'll get my consciousness back. That's cool.
That is premeditation. What you say is
Yeah.
premeditation. But
You
there's
could say
also
that's
sudden weakness or mistake. The sudden weakness or mistake is also one of the ways. Here, the last line.
Yeah. Let me just, so there's a, yeah, so sin happens in two ways, sudden weakness or mistake, and by premeditation. So yeah, I'm speaking more premeditation here.
Yes.
Yeah, perhaps let's read on another couple of paragraphs. Sorry, Mavulavanga.
What if, like, I'm on YouTube and suddenly something attracts my attention, which is on the mundane platform, and I watch it, and like maybe even it's Jordan Peterson or somebody, you know, he's like, sometimes he says something that's interesting, and most of the time it's not interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know Jordan Peterson. I mean, I don't know him personally, but he's a very interesting character. Some of the things he says are interesting. So you have to judge for yourself, Mother.
And then
judge for yourself.
I think, oh no, my consciousness has got absorbed in that, and I can feel like it's actually like taken me somewhere that I don't want to go. And then I immediately, I might start chanting or doing something devotional to try and like get my consciousness back on track.
Yeah, that's different. That's not deceitful. That's not premeditated. It's not think, yeah, I'm going to do this, but it's okay. You know, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's something we all have to contend with. There's so much to distract us, externally, and then we've got YouTube, things like that. And sometimes sometimes in my studies, things like that, I have to go into these things and watch, because I'm studying at the moment a little bit about studying about well, I forget the subject I'm studying. I was studying about the subject of hell, as I mentioned, of the so-called eternal hell. So I'm listening to a couple of Christians who are speaking against his principle. I'm trying to understand it from their side. So anyway, so you just have to judge for yourself. It's not exactly the same as someone who's deliberately doing these things. But you have to be careful what we expose ourselves to in this world. Some things we may not be expecting our consciousness to get so distracted, but we feel. Yeah. Anybody else on that?
Can I quickly add something? We should
Please,
not
Mother, yeah.
suppress our urges, our needs, or our interests, anything. Slowly we will grow out of it if we engage in activity equal for satisfaction. For example, watching more devotional videos, reading books, devotional, be having more association with devotees. Slowly, by all those, they will come off.
Yeah,
So we have to grow up slowly. We'll grow up, because
Mhm.
if we start suppressing, we'll be breaking ourselves, and it doesn't benefit your devotional service. We have to replace slowly replace.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot more drastic and worse places you can go, Mother Lavanga, on the YouTube than watching Jordan Peterson. So it's not. At least he's a philosopher, and he has some religious sentiment.
Yeah.
So that's not exactly like watching I don't know, whatever, unmentionable things which there are out there. But yeah, very good point, Mama Jambavati. We should eventually try to fill up our time in wonderful, which out there is many things about Krishna, Yeah, so it's not exactly the same. I hope that clears for Mother Lavanga. I hope that's clear. We can feel, even when we're moving about this world, we will feel our consciousness become contaminated just by walking around, just by shopping, going out. So we will feel it, but then we come and we take shelter, holy name. That is not what is being described here. Well, perhaps let's read another couple of paragraphs. It might kind of go 6 o'clock. Just read these last two paragraphs, Mother Rajkishore, and then.
Okay. Being inclined to sin is namaparad. A materialist has to perform prayaschit and repent bitterly if he commits sin. But if he commits sin on the purifying strength of the holy name, then even prayaschit is futile. He faces certain renewation. Even after untold retribution in hell, he will not be absolved with this namaparad. Just the inclination to sin itself results in enough tribulation for the soul. If he further compounds his difficulty by deliberately committing sins on the strength of chanting, his fate is most lamentable.
Okay, perhaps we need to stop there, Mother, because I've got another Zoom happening at 6 o'clock, so I'm a couple of minutes late. So just finishing there, like here again, by deliberately committing sin. Okay. That's the difference. One is deliberately doing it. Yeah. So premeditated and deliberate, and thinking, the holy name will be. It's okay. I can chant the holy name. All right. Okay, we'll stop there. Thank you for cutting off a bit there. Let's see how much we've got. A couple more pages left on this chapter. And tomorrow is Brihat Bhagavatamrita Day. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you everyone for joining us. Hare Krishna, and look forward to tomorrow's reading.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's gratefully Prabhu ki. Yeah. Thank you so much.